Back to New Method Live. I am so excited that you're here. And today we're going to talk about autoimmune issues, specifically what your doctor probably didn't tell you about autoimmune issues. And if they did, kudos to them, but likely not. Autoimmune disease is essentially when your immune system attacks yourself, attacks your heart, your muscles, different organs, your skin, your joints, and the immune system is targeting itself instead of targeting something foreign. It's basically your whole body has gone a little bit crazy and it's fighting the wrong person, yourself. Lupus, psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, thyroid issues, Hashimoto's, they're just a few of them. And many of you may not even know that you have an autoimmune issue because the initial symptoms of autoimmunity is I don't feel well, I'm tired, I'm fatigued. And of course, many of the docs will say, well, it's just your age, or it's your hormones, or it's in your head. You know how I feel about that. Conventional medicine is very limited in how it manages and diagnoses autoimmune issues. There are some things that you're never going to hear about in your doctor's office that could really help you manage your autoimmune issues or prevent them from even happening. So whether you know you have an autoimmune issue or whether you think you might have an autoimmune issue, today's episode is for you. Before we start, I always like to let you know how to reach me and my team. So if you're watching us on Facebook, type in the word live because we want to see that you're here. And of course, if you're watching us on the replay, let us know because guess what? We're paying attention. We look for it. No matter where you are, if you type the word change on any platform, that will let my team know that you want to get our show notes and we will send them over to you. If you are on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe because we work really hard on this and it's nice to see you guys out there. If you're listening to me on the podcast, of course, you're not missing anything besides my amazing hair and some of these titles, which I'm going to mess up. And I'm wearing a black sweatshirt with, of course, the stethoscope that my wife bought me. So you're not missing anything by not watching us on video. No matter where you're getting this, don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Because at the New Method, sorry if there's some background noise. This is a busy office, but that's what's happening right now. So follow us on Instagram at the New Method because we're funny and we work really hard on entertaining you. And wherever you're getting this, don't forget to share this with the people that you love so they can become the game changers in their lives. And if you don't know me by now, my name is Efrat Lamandre. Everyone calls me E or Dr. E, and I invented the New Method where we empower people to finally realize that their symptoms are not in their head. So let's go. Let's jump in and talk. Join the conversation wherever you are. Leave us a message, private message us, DM us. We are going to answer. We love the comments. So the more the merrier. Ask your questions. So let's jump into what you need to know about autoimmune disease, aka what your doctor probably didn't. So let's talk about what autoimmune disease is. It's when your body's natural defense system can't tell the difference between your cells and foreign cells, and it causes the body to mistakenly misfire and attack the normal cells. Now, you might be familiar with the body attacking a foreign thing, right? You may have heard of if someone has the wrong blood type and they get a blood transfusion, they'll have a transfusion reaction. If you have an organ that is not a match, right? You've heard of these things, you'll have some type of reaction because that's your body fighting something foreign. If you have a cold and you recover, that's your body fighting that foreign thing. But with autoimmune, all of a sudden, for some reason, we're going to talk about that reason, your body gets confused and says, oh, this joint right here, I think it's foreign. I'm going to start attacking it. And maybe you have rheumatoid arthritis. This skin right here, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I'm going to start attacking it. And maybe you have psoriasis. So this is what autoimmune is. It's the body getting confused and attacking certain organs and certain parts of your body. If it attacks the thyroid, that's Hashimoto's. Now, for those of you who have an autoimmune disease, and I'm going to get to those of you in a moment who are not sure if you have one, but for those of you who have an autoimmune disease, I'm sure at some point you turned to your doc or your rheumatologist and said, why? Why me? Why did I get this? And usually the answer is some variation of, on my podcast, I just shrugged. It's a shrug. It's, I don't know why it happened to you. Or maybe it's genetic. And there's just this general sense of, it's kind of bad luck. You just got this. And so because they don't know what's actually causing it, the treatment is really limited, right? If you know what's causing something and you avoid that thing, then you can treat that. But if you don't know what's actually causing something, then your treatment is limited, right? If you have strep throat and you know what's causing it is strep bacteria and you get a medication to kill that strep bacteria, you're actually curing the issue. But if you don't know what's going on, if you get a shrug, then how is the treatment going to be very specific? So the treatment across the board for just about any autoimmune issue is basically this. Well, your immune system is attacking your body, so let's calm down your immune system. So people with autoimmune issues, they just get offered super strong medication. And if you're listening and you have autoimmune, you know what I'm talking about. You're given steroids, which lower inflammation and suppress the immune system, chemo medications like methotrexate, immunosuppressive drugs, biologics that suppress the immune system. So great. They stop the immune system stops attacking, feels good, my skin looks better, my joints feel better, maybe my gut feels better, but they've stopped the immune system, which means you can't get sick, because if you get sick, you won't be able to fight it off. So yeah, you might feel better, but oh, by the way, don't get a cold because you won't be able to manage it. So yeah, we'll calm down the pain or the skin issues or the gut issues, but hey, we're also going to increase the risk of chronic infection, increase the risk of cancer. And that's because the medication doesn't address the root cause of what's going on. Instead, it's just dousing the whole immune system and trying to calm it down. A little side note, I am not telling you not to take it. I am not telling you to stop taking it. I want you to understand why they're giving you this medication and go on a journey to figure out what's actually happening. Conventional medicine has not been effective at looking at the root cause of autoimmune disease, which is what these root causes are basically what I talk about in every episode. Food, toxins, allergens, microbes, microbiomes, stress. So instead of finding the triggers for autoimmunity, conventional medicine just pours more and more drugs on to shut off the immune system. A brief moment, I want to say, autoimmune issues have been on the rise, not just in this country, in the world. And you might say, well, maybe they're on the rise because we diagnose them more. No, they're on the rise. You have more people with autoimmune issues, MS, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, Hashimoto's. There are more and more people. And I'm sure if you're not affected by it, you know someone who's affected by it. What happened? Why is it that there are so many more people who have more autoimmune issues? What happened? Did we change it as a species? No. What happened is that there's a huge change in our environment that causes this increase in attacking the self. Let's start with our nutrition. It's highly processed. It's boxed, it's canned, it's freeze-dried, it's preserved, it's doused with chemicals. Our food is higher in sugar than ever because of high fructose corn syrup. We've been able to package it more sugar, per square inch than ever. In an effort to make the best crops, our seeds are genetically modified. Our fruits and vegetables are covered with pesticides. Our wheat is supercharged with extra gluten, and we consume this all day, every meal, and it's driving up inflation, well, that too, inflammation, and it's forcing the body to create antigens because of all these foreign substances. You're trying to eat a tomato, and your tomato's covered in stuff. You're trying to eat whole wheat bread, and your wheat is supercharged with stuff. And now your body has to learn how to contend with that, and it's constantly creating antigens to fight this off. And we've had so much in the past few decades that we can't keep up. And on top of our food source, we have antibiotics. The antibiotics that we take every time we have a cold, hey, give me antibiotics. And the antibiotics in our animals. And we're not giving the antibiotics to our animals because they're sick. We're giving it to them to prevent sickness because they're overcrowded and we're concerned that there will be an outbreak. So they're getting millions of pounds of antibiotics, and we're eating them, and we're getting millions of prescriptions of antibiotics and taking them. So that's something our body has to contend with. Increasing stress. There used to be a time where you could opt out of not knowing everything, and now you can't. It's at your fingertips. It's a constant stressor, which we know if you watch any of my episodes, it's going to affect everything. And toxins. There have been over 80,000 new chemicals introduced into our environment since the 1900s. 80,000. There's no way our body can manage all that so quickly. Cannot adapt that quickly. And everyone keeps telling us it's fine. It's just little doses, a little dose here, a little dose there. But what if I told you, hey, take your child, and from the age 4, I want you to give it a teaspoon of poison every single day. She'll be fine every day. You're going to say, no way, because that teaspoon of poison obviously is going to have long-term effects when she gets older, right? It's the same thing here. Our government, our regulating bodies are telling us it's just a little bit of pesticide. It's just a little bit of toxins. You'll be fine. We check parameters, but it builds up over time in your system. Your body has to manage that. We are so loaded with toxins. They did a study of newborn babies, brand new babies, and discovered 287 toxins in brand new cord blood. 209 which have never been detected in cord blood, so it's brand new stuff. 180 of these are carcinogenic, and 217 are toxic to the brain and the nervous system, all wrapped up into your bundle of joy that you just gave birth to. They've done studies on fat that's been removed during various surgeries to see what's going on in this fat, and that's been filled with toxins too. So when the docs or someone tells you autoimmune just happens, it doesn't just happen. There's something in your system that has triggered it. Something from the list I just gave you. It's your food, your stress, your chemicals. Something caused the system to misfire. There's no way you can be exposed to all of this every day, all your life, and expect the immune system to function properly. Getting the name of your disease. Hey, I have rheumatoid arthritis. Hey, I have Hashimoto's. Hey, I have MS. Getting the name of your disease doesn't actually mean you know what's wrong with you. It just means you have a name for it. Because you could have 10 people with psoriatic arthritis, 10 people with rheumatoid arthritis, 10 people with Hashimoto's, and each one of them is going to need different treatments because each one of them got triggered by something else. For some person, it might be gluten. For some person, it might be toxins that they were exposed to at work. So they can't possibly require the same treatment. But the end result is the same. They may end up with the same disease, but what triggered it is completely different. And it's really important to figure out what that trigger is so that you can figure out how to start unpacking it. So what conventional medicine is missing is that once it gives you your disease, a name, you're good, everything is wonderful. Here you go, Mr. Smith, you have rheumatoid arthritis, and here are your list of options. Immunosuppressants, immunomodulators, and also we'll give you some extra medication to manage your pain or any other symptoms that you might have, right? So if it's your gut, here's something for your loose stools, here's something for your constipation. It's not really addressing the issue. Going to calm down the immune system and then give you some additional meds for whatever symptoms that you're having. So as you could see, this is not the best way to treat this because what needs to happen is to address the cause and treat the cause. Now, this is where it gets tricky because how do you know what causes it? We're going to talk about that. For those of you who got this far into the episode and you're not even sure if you have autoimmunity and maybe you're a little scared now because, oh my God, who wants this? You're not even sure, but you feel like you might have it. And there's many of my patients come in and say, listen, my family has Hashimoto's. My family has rheumatoid arthritis. I have these symptoms, but when I go to the doctor, they tell me everything's fine. And they tell me it's in your head, right? You know this because I wrote my whole book about it. It's called It's Not in Your Head. You're in the right place. This is another area that conventional medicine does not excel in. So it excels in once you have a diagnosis to give you a whole bunch of meds, but it doesn't excel in what happens if you don't have a diagnosis, but you're kind of sort of feeling the symptoms, but maybe the lab work is just not showing up with it. One of the things that functional medicine is really good at is catching autoimmune-like behavior before it actually gets diagnosed, before the blood work sees it, and then intervene so that it doesn't become a full-blown disease. Because all it means, if you have the symptoms and you're just not showing it in blood, it just means it's cooking. It just means it's on its way, right? We know about pre-diabetes. We know about pre-hypertension, right? Pre-hypertension, your blood pressure is a little high, but it's not high enough to be medicated. Pre-diabetes, pre-hypertension, your blood pressure is a little high, but it's not quite there. Do you need medication? Pre-diabetes, your blood sugar is a little high, but it's not quite there. You don't need medication. And we're comfortable with that. We're familiar. Pre-diabetes. Oh, I'm pre-diabetic. Let me change my diet. Oh, I'm pre-hypertensive. Let me start exercising more. We're familiar with this pre-disease state. The same thing is true for autoimmunity. There's a world of pre-autoimmune. Hey, I have the symptoms, but I'm not quite diagnosable yet. We still want to intervene right now before it becomes a diagnosis. And conventional medicine is not great at that. There is in conventional medicine, you're either healthy or you have a disease. But health is on a spectrum, and it takes time to go from here to here. And there's so much that can be done in the window between that before it's a full-blown disease. So what happens to many of you? You might have something called an ANA and it's high, or an antibody that's high, and you go to rheumatology and you're like, hey, my blood work is showing a little something, and they'll say to you, there's nothing I could do for you now. Come back in a year. I'll reevaluate your blood work because you're not sick enough. But in functional medicine, we want to address it now. This is what we do. Most of my patients come to me when they feel like the wheels are falling off. They've been to a lot of doctors, everyone telling them that they're fine. And for years, they've had stomach issues or skin issues or brain fog or bloating. And all of this is your body contending with so many triggers. All those triggers I just told you about, it's trying to manage all those triggers over your life for years, leading up to the explosion of the autoimmune diagnosis. So if you're feeling symptoms, you don't have to wait for the diagnosis to start making changes and feeling better. And if you already have a diagnosis, the answer is not only medications. We have to find the cause. So let me catch us up. I wrote about pre-autoimmune, and now let's go to how to test for it and how do we find out what's wrong with it, right? Okay, so I got really excited. I'm sorry, guys. So podcast people, you really didn't miss anything because I forgot to click on everything. So what do we do? How do we know what's going on with us? This is how we know. And I wrote this in my book, guys. You can go get it. It's called It's Not in Your Head by me, Efrat Lamandre. It's on Amazon. I'm pretty sure if you have like Kindle something, it's free. It's all there for you, how to go about it. And there is a method. I don't want you to randomly go out and do a million tests. There is a method to this. First, and I say this every episode, if you're not feeling well, you first go to your PCP. If you need to go to a specialist, go to a specialist. If it's your stomach, go to GI. If it's your skin, go to derm. Always, always start with conventional medicine first. Do not self-diagnose because you want to rule out a disease, right? We said there's a spectrum, but if there's a disease, we need to know what's going on right away. Now, if they gave you the diagnosis, or if they said nothing's wrong with you, now you move on to the next section. And the next section is always nutrition. I say this every time because it's something that you put into your system every day, all day, several times a day. Going back to that poison analogy, if I told you to take a little bit of poison every day, all day, several times a day, you'd be like, no, I don't think so. You have to understand that for some of you, certain foods are going to cause like poison-like reactions. So you have to start there. And the beautiful thing by starting there is you have nothing to lose by cleaning up your diet. There's no side effect to cleaning up your diet. You have nothing to lose. I want you to start looking at harmful foods as the poisons you don't want to take. Eliminate the processed foods, the chemicals in the food, buy organic, eliminate anything that could cause inflammation like gluten or dairy. And if you've already been diagnosed with an autoimmune, you should probably be on something called an autoimmune protocol, AIP. I didn't make it up. Google it. And that's even more of elimination. They eliminate nightshades and nuts and eggs. And you should be on that for a little while to see if that is your trigger. Now, I just did a talk yesterday and somebody asked a great question, but isn't it also important to add things? Yes, it's really important to add things. It's not just about elimination. It's not okay to just have a piece of grilled chicken and broccoli for the rest of your life. You have to put the good stuff in. And I recently heard a talk by Dr. Mark Hyman, who I think is wonderful. And he says, go to your grocery store and look at it like a drugstore. The foods you eat as you're walking around, those are your drugs. You're going to say to yourself, oh, let me get artichokes because it has probiotic fibers. Let me get something high in fibers because it binds toxins. Let me get some shiitake mushrooms because it helps my immune system. Let me grab some high quality olive oil because it has oleic acid, which is good for my heart. Let me make sure that the fruits and vegetables in my shopping cart have all different colors because I know phytonutrients are anti-inflammatory. Look at your grocery store like a drugstore. This is where you get your medicine. Okay. So like I said, PCP first, clean up your diet, then add some good supplements for your gut, short chain fatty acids, probiotics, omega-3, fix the stress, start to move. This is where you begin. And if that works, if you feel better, guess what? You found the cause of your autoimmunity. You don't need fancy tests. If you did all this and suddenly your thyroid meds stabilize, your skin rash goes away, your brain fog goes away, your belly feels better, you don't need any more tests. You're done. Something in what you removed and something that you added was the trigger for your autoimmunity. Conversation over, mystery solved. And you should start feeling better. Now, for those of you who maybe feel a little better but not fully resolved, there's still some skin issues, you've eliminated everything, that's when you go hunting. You go for food sensitivity testing, which is not the same as food allergy testing. You go for leaky gut testing. Leaky gut, quickly, I had an episode on it, but I'm already past my 20 minutes, and I try not to make these too long, but there's a whole episode on leaky gut. But I want you to know this, leaky gut. You have this tube from your mouth to the end of you. It goes right through your body. And all day long, you're putting foreign stuff, outside world stuff in the system. And you expect this tube from your mouth to your anus to manage everything you put in there, from grilled chicken to Doritos to ice cream. You want it to manage everything. And what does it have to do? It has to break everything down into manageable substances. It has to break it down to amino acids and sugar and free fatty acids. Break it all down. And at the same time, it has to make sure nothing bad gets in. No bacteria, no toxins, no foreign stuff. So you're expecting a lot from this tube. And when everything goes well, it's great. You know, you break down your foods to your amino acids, your sugars, your free fatty acids. Everything works well. All the bad stuff gets pooped out the other end, and everything is wonderful. But when the gut is damaged from gluten, from toxins, from chronic infections, you get something called leaky gut. I did a whole episode on it, but I want you to know that now, every time you put the external world into your system, that tube is having a hard time not letting the toxins in. And now these toxins get into your system, which can trigger autoimmunity. Hope this helps a little bit. So just like I said, let me recap this real quick. Cleaning up the diet, repairing the leaky gut, usually that's enough. And if you're not feeling better, that's when you go for the special testing, the stool testing for parasites and bacteria, testing for chronic infections like Lyme, heavy metal testing, toxins. You could test for heavy metals and toxins in your urine, mold testing. But all of that comes last. Don't start there first. That is where you have to go last if the other things don't work. So I know I spoke a lot. There's two things I want you to walk away from in this episode. One, if you already have an autoimmune disease, you have to find out what caused it. Saying it just happens is not enough. Don't accept that as your answer. Find the cause so that you can actually treat it. And two, if you have the symptoms of an autoimmune disease and the blood tests don't show it, don't wait for the blood test to start cleaning up your system and reversing the system, the symptoms and the system. And I know I spoke a lot and I know it's really confusing. So as always, if you want to work with us, the way to reach us is at The New Method. New is spelled with a K. on every platform except for Twitter because I have too much to say. 150 characters is not enough for me. So you name it: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, podcast, TikTok, The New Method, new is spelled with a K. Find us, let us know you want to work with us. We want you to become the game changer in your life because you always knew there was a better way. I will see you guys next week. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this week's episode on what your doctor didn't tell you about your autoimmune issues. If you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget to check out last week's video on how to optimize brain health. I'll see you guys soon.